So why do we use exponential functions? Well, we're getting into that, but before we get into why exactly we use exponential functions, we're going to look at something called simple interest, right? Now imagine you invested money in a bank. What happens typically is you get return on your money, right? So let's say I invested $100, okay? And I invested at simple interest. What that means I'll explain in a minute. And my interest rate, say, was 10%, okay? So what would happen is at the end of the first year, I'm going to earn 10% on this money. That is, I'm going to earn $10, right? 10% of 100 is $10. So at the end of year one, I'm going to have $10. So my $100 now grew to $110. At the end of year two, I'm going to get another $10 because I have the $100 here. So I'm going to get another $10. And so I'm going to have 120. So every year that I keep this $100 in my account, I'm going to get $10. Okay? And so that is what simple interest is. So how do I calculate simple interest? Because I don't want to keep adding $10 every time. So how do I calculate simple interest? Well, for that we have a formula. So the simple interest we denote that by I, okay, on the invested amount and we denote that by P, capital P, we call that the principal, okay, at a rate of R is given by I, which is your interest, is equal to P times R times T. Okay, and this is for T years. And so for 1 year, it would just be P times R. For 2 years, it would be P times R times 2, so on and so forth. So let's look at it in an example. Okay, so Carlos deposited $5,000 in a bank, right? So our principal is $5,000. Okay, at 7% simple interest for 5 years. So our interest rate is 7%, but when we use interest rate in a problem, we don't write it as 7, we rather write it as a decimal. So 7% is 0.07. So remember, we always use the interest rate in decimal when using in a formula, but when you report it, we don't report it as a decimal, we report it as a percent. Okay, and then my time t here is 5 years. So let's look at our formula. We have I equals P R T, and that is going to be 5,000 times 0.07 times 5, and that comes out to about $1,750. So in 5 years, the interest accumulated is going to be $1,750. So how much am I going to get back at the end of 5 years? I'm going to get back my let's say our A is our final amount, so I'm going to get back principal plus the interest, right? So that's the amount I get back after 5 years. My principal was 5,000 and my interest was $1,750. So add them together and I'm going to get $6,750 back.